everyone, my name is Reagan Cup. I'm a graduate student at the University of Toledo, working on my doctorate degree in psychology. I study under Dr. Wesley Bullock, and we study mindfulness and acceptance-based interventions. And currently we're working on a program that involves offering mindfulness-based stress reduction program free to UT students.
Hey, my name is Leah. I am an undergraduate junior studying and majoring in psychology and minoring in counseling. I also work under Dr. Bullock in his research lab as a research assistant.
So everyone has stress, and stress looks a little bit different in everybody's life. It's important to first note that stress is a common and normal response that your body has to new or challenging situations. So stress is often really helpful. It can be a motivator, and I know that you're probably thinking, how can stress be helpful? But just hear me out. Think about when you have a big test that's coming up, and you might start to feel stressed. This is because your brain recognizes, that it's about to go into battle with this exam that you're about to take. So your body starts to feel stressed so that you begin to prepare for this fight that you're about to have. But sometimes stress can become problematic when it starts to take over your life. So you stress for long amounts of time, or it becomes too overwhelming, or begins to kind of interfere with your daily life or your functioning. So I prioritize my mental health by taking care of my body. And for me, I know that, when I work out, I eat well, and I practice my mindfulness skills, I feel at my best. So, even if my task list is extra long, I make it a priority to schedule workouts, schedule grocery trips, and kind of put aside some time to practice my mindfulness skills. Leah, how do you manage stress?
So at least once a day, I take a moment to pause and ask myself how I'm doing. So I ask myself, have I hydrated recently? Have I eaten? How am I feeling? Stuff like that, to see if there's any support that I need to give myself. Taking a step back when you're stressed and overwhelmed. So just taking a moment and breathing and letting it ground you. Remind yourself that you can get through the situation, and you will, even if it's stressful. Setting realistic goals for yourself and expectations, because there's only so much you can do, and it's no use to overextending yourself. I like doing at least one enjoyable task during the day, so I have something to look forward to when I get home from class or after I do my homework. And then it's really important to take breaks throughout your day too, whether it's just 5 minutes or an hour or even more. So at the beginning of the semester, I take a look at my classes, and then I just create a little schedule, building in the breaks as I go.
Mindfulness is basically just the act of paying attention. So paying attention right now to this moment and doing it with an open mind. So a lot of research out there has shown that mindfulness can reduce stress. So what I want to do today is walk you through just a short mindfulness skill called belly breathing. So before we get started with that skill, I want to say that breathing is both voluntary and involuntary. So breathing happens even when we're not thinking about it, but we can also intentionally influence our breathing patterns. So for example, if we breathe more deeply into our diaphragm, we can increase the amount of oxygen going to our body, and that tends to decrease our heart rate and our blood pressure, which are two functions that tend to be higher with higher amounts of stress. So by focusing on our breathing and making sure we're using, the entire space of our diaphragm, we can lower our stress. So first we need to go ahead and find the diaphragm, as I mentioned before. So we don't typically or consciously breathe into our diaphragm, so it might be a little bit uncomfortable at first, but I just ask that you go into this with an open mind. So to find your diaphragm, you'll want to put one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly. And you'll know if you're breathing into your diaphragm when your belly rises and not your chest. So for example, if I breathe like this, that's not breathing into my diaphragm. So when you're breathing into your diaphragm, your shoulders should stay down and your chest shouldn't rise, but your belly should rise. So let's just go ahead and practice that for just a few minutes. If you're still having trouble finding your diaphragm, you can try laying on your back and doing this same technique, and it's a little bit easier to find your diaphragm that way. So let's go ahead and practice this for just a few more minutes, and try to push your belly out as best as you can. We're just going to sit quietly, so you can go ahead and close your eyes, or you can just gaze lower at the floor, and then we'll just keep practicing for just a few more minutes. If you begin to notice that your mind is wandering, just gently bring it back to your breath. If you'd like, you could say to yourself, breathing in, I know that I'm breathing in. And breathing out, I know that I'm breathing out. And eventually you can just drop this to in and out. And again, if your mind begins to wander, or you notice it wandering, just gently bring it back to your breath. And when you're ready, take one more mindful breath and begin to bring your awareness back to the room. So mindfulness can be a little bit challenging at first, but I encourage you to keep practicing and see what positive effects it can have in your life.
I hope that you found this exercise helpful, and if you like more tips and mindfulness exercises for stress, visit Insight Timer. It's a free app that can be downloaded to your smartphone, and it has thousands of free guided skills to practice each day.
Yeah, so thanks for watching this vlog on stress management and mindfulness skills. Good luck with the rest of your semester, and go Rockets!